when you cross a know-it-all newspaper columnist with an awkward, unsophisticated everyman.
Yeah. Well, I'm just not sure about that right now.
Welcome to Couch and the Rube.
Welcome to Couch and the Rube, our Monday show, presented by our friends at Muskox Quality Flannels. You can get your Muskox Quality Flannel at gomuskox.com, where Couch and the Rube listeners get $15 off with the promo code Peacock. And Muskox has a new website. If you go to gomuskox.com, you'll notice the changes. Fantastic. They lay out, look, all the great new flannels are there. All the great same flannels are there. And you can choose between two different kinds of flannels. The Grand Flannel, the Field Grand Flannel. Like the Grand Flannel is their softest, thickest flannel for all-day comfort. The Field Grand Flannel, the densest and strongest flannel. Depending on what you're looking for. Two builds, same grit, just like Dan Campbell at gomuskox.com. Jason, how you doing, brother?
What did we tell you? What did we tell you? Ah! What did we tell you? What did we tell you? Come here and take it. Ah! Let's go. Peacock.
What's up, buddy? You're looking great in that flannel today, man.
Thanks, man.
Really brings out your eyes.
I
Looks
think
great.
So. Yeah.
Good to see you.
Which is actually on the Muskox site, looking to see which next flannel would be my next purchase, just to see what would bring out my eyes.
Smart.
You know? Yeah.
You should just have like 7 or 8 of them.
A lot of times
just in a rotation, you know.
When there's a little bit of blue, my eyes really pop. And so that's what I'm looking
By the way, before we get going, can we talk about this picture you posted on Couch and the Rube yesterday?
Okay.
The Twitter Couch and the Rube of you watching soccer yesterday. What is this setup you have here? You have to explain yourself. First of all, not to mention the fact that we're just normalizing this stealing a cat, by the way. Because I think about Spot sometimes. I think about Spot sitting here and going, does Spot's like original owners like miss him? And like, do they see this picture and go, man, I wish we had our cat back? It's just a weird vibe.
So I don't think they follow the Couch and the Rube Twitter account. I'm kind of counting on that. But this whole show is based on a lot of people not paying attention, right? My wife's not allowed to listen. My bosses don't know really what's going on. Like the whole thing, this whole community is sort of a secret underground community that's grown, and it probably is a little too public for what I would be comfortable if I actually realized it.
But what in the Wolf Blitzer? I mean,
what's wrong with my setup?
Can I get you a TV for Christmas?
I like our TV.
It's not even a TV. It's like a monitor. Like it's an old
55 inches,
and it's sitting on the edge of this, like, what is it on?
It's a very nice.
It's like a hutch or something.
No, it's a
on.
very nice
and it's
piece of wood. And
do you bring this TV out only for when you watch soccer? Like that TV is not sitting there right now.
It's there right now,
on the edge like that.
Well, it's a little more. So to be fair to the picture, it's a little more on the edge than usual because we had an electrical issue, and so it's plugged in a little differently than it normally would be. We had an outlet go out. We're having an electrician come up with something. So it's a little. But
you understand when you see this photo of someone that loves TVs and multiple TVs. I know it's not for everyone, but you do love consuming sports.
I do.
So that's why I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And I was at Walmart yesterday, and they have like a 70-inch for like $400 now, and I'm just like, why doesn't Couch just spend some money and get a TV? Because that TV doesn't. How old is that thing?
Quite old. It's old.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Come on, man.
We're good.
You can get like a 40-inch for like $100.
That's more than 40 inches.
I mean, you could. I understand. What I know, but it's a clear whatever TV. I'm trying to put it in your price range here.
We'll get it done. I'm just not as embarrassed.
I mean, if you like it,
yeah, I'm
embarrassed. It's just like. First and foremost, it's the cat. I'm worried about the cat.
So the cat.
I'm not like a fan. I don't understand this. Like I would feel so weird if someone else's cat was in my house.
We communicate with the owner sometimes when Spot will not go home, will not leave. Like Spot came over today. It's snow on the ground. I come downstairs.
Why are you
I go to make
Spot?
coffee because Spot is like
Spot is a cat that doesn't know where his house is.
Spot is at the side door just like pawing to get in, and then came and like hung out again this morning and did not want to leave. I had to like kick Spot out. I was like, Spot, you have to leave.
That's why you can't have a stranger's cat in your house because it's probably going to enjoy it, and it's going to be like, hey, I don't know, maybe it's better at your house than it is the former owner.
Well,
but then you change the cat's name. Does the owner know that? I'm just fascinated by this whole thing. I mean, what a picture this is, all to take in on the couch.
Because we got to know Spot before we knew the owner. So we renamed Spot before we knew its government name.
How is that possible?
Yeah.
You know a cat before you know the owner.
Because it was just around for a while, and then we figured out whose it was. Yeah. Anyway.
It's fascinating. Anyway, all right, sports takes. Let's go.
Yeah.
What do we got? Michigan State hoops looking good, huh?
Yeah, a lot of. It was a good weekend. You know, it's not great for MSU football when the weekend is better probably without you.
Yeah.
Probably not a great thing to carry with you.
Though. It didn't matter.
Yeah, it certainly was. All right, yeah. Should we
give those guys a week off? Yeah, man. Let's go.
All right. Well, I'll start with a little MSU.
It's the American way, except America has gotten soft.
MSU basketball definitely surprised me on Saturday. I thought they were going to lose this game. Yep. I thought it was going to look different than it did.
Yep. I was mad at you.
Yeah, because you bet the other way?
I didn't bet the other way.
Okay,
I couldn't take Arkansas, but I definitely faded it because of you.
Yeah.
And I was really bummed with myself. I owe Tom Izzo and Dan Campbell an apology. I can't believe I doubted both of you.
Michigan State would have lost that game on any other court. And I still think Arkansas will become a team that is they may see in the Sweet 16, Elite 8. Like I would buy Arkansas long-term stock for this season if I were somebody right now, and it may be a good time to get it. Like I don't know what their price is to win the SEC or reach the Final Four, but I think that team's going to be really good. That was two freshmen who played okay on the road, first road game. That said, though, and look, it is also annoying that you get all these national takes out there basically saying Michigan State was lucky to be home and they caught Arkansas at the right time and all this shit. It's the typical stuff, right? National folks just trying to find an
Well, you're looking at a box score, you're seeing the 3-point percentage. And
they watch it, and there is an athleticism that intrigues national people who are just trying to find relevancy in their life, and so they work hard at it. But and beside the point, what Michigan State did, and there are still things with this team that should be concerning in terms of like what their actual ceiling can be if you want them to contend for titles. There are issues at the shooting guard, and there are issues shooting the ball that I think we all have to acknowledge, and a lot of the takes we're going to get to do, and we'll get into that quite a bit. But I think what Michigan State showed you Saturday night was that their floor for this team is pretty high, and that a lot of things that are baked into the program culturally have, and some of the sweat equity that comes with having guys who are in their third and fourth year have stayed with the program, and Michigan State's had more continuity than other places, and you get guys who care about winning year over year and develop and what that can mean and what that can look like. Because Cohen Carr, I mean, Cam Ward stole the show in a lot of ways, but Cohen Carr's performance Saturday may have been the most important performance we see this season. Wow. Not because there won't be bigger games this season, but because I didn't know if Cohen Carr was going to be able to handle sort of the not being a star is the wrong word, but being the headliner, being the guy, being somebody that has to perform night in and night out at a certain level to elevate this team to a play and can athletically do so, but has certain limitations that also make things not easy for him in some ways. And he was a star in the way he has to be a star on Saturday night. It was just relentlessness at the rim. It was
triple XL t-shirt.
Yeah,
I was like, dude, that looks so sweaty. But hey, man, do you, Cohen?
Yeah, it was just not overthinking things, but also trusting all the development he's had. The passing he had, two fabulous passes of his 3 assists were really plays he would not have made a year ago. You see year-over-year development with him, right? A year ago, it was like the Euro step and the ability to drive and fit in and figure out how to work in a half-court offense. This year, you see that addition to him, the ability to make a play for somebody else a little bit, which I'm not saying that's his strength, but it's there, and it led to a couple buckets, right? I think that was an incredibly important sign. Now that's a type of game that requires peak energy every night, which is a lot to ask. But we saw the difference he can be in a big game against an athletic, tough opponent. And I think we saw from this Michigan State team against an athletic opponent. Cohen Carr, when I talked to him after the game, thought that was the most athletic team he's faced. Now, there will be more polished teams, and Arkansas may become one of them. But the fact that they handled that team, that they have some of their own length themselves, with Jordan Scott and Cam Ward now, and the way it all looked, there were certain concerns I had about this MSU team, their ability to play up against great athleticism and just their ability to have an identity that worked despite their shortcomings, that they answered. Like their ability to rebound, 19 offensive rebounds, their ability to defend in key moments, all of those things were really positive. And then having enough sweat equity from some veteran guys like Carr, like Jeremy Fears, who didn't let not shooting well get in his head at all. And then
should he just get like a quick bunny basket or a layup or something to get some confidence going early on in the game? I mean, shout out to Acuff Jr. for following him on that three, that pump fake.
That helped.
I mean, my God.
That was a horrible foul.
Calipari.
Yeah.
Recruiting those
again,
college basketball knowledge guys. You know?
That was very similar to Derrick Rose in the Mario Chalmers championship game in 2008 that cost me $1,000. The still not over that entirely. No, a little different play here, but this is what happens when you have freshmen in a tough environment. This is why you play these games. Arkansas will grow a ton from that, and Michigan State. Look, they needed this game at home, wherever it was. You know, there are lots of advantages to be at home. They don't win this on the road. I don't think they win on a neutral court, but you still take it because there's a lot of growth and a lot of things they needed to get out of this game that they got out of it. And Cam Ward showing you that's who he can be this early in his career, looking like not only does he belong on the court as a freshman, but he can star in certain roles, that he's just a smooth player who plays with high efficiency and adds to their rebounding. And like, there's nothing but positive to take out of that game, despite shooting 7% from three-point line, despite making one. And we'll get into that, and I think that is something that they're going to have to
But
work
I think
on.
Cam Ward is the bigger story out of the two, because I think we know what Cohen Carr.
I don't know.
I feel like when I saw it last night, I was like, yeah, that's the guy that we were expecting this year. But you know what I mean? I mean, just to watch Cam Ward in 23 minutes to score 18 points, you need that kind of guy
Yeah, but
to fill the basket.
Jaden Akins never really got to where, like, Jaden Akins was supposed. Cohen Carr is in the Jaden Akins role in a certain, the guy who's been elevated, who's expected to take that next step.
But
now
didn't Akins have
headliner.
more pressure on him, though? I just don't think Cohen has as much pressure as Akins had on him. Because Akins would press and try to do those things. I think Cohen can go out there and kind of freewheel and kind of play his game that he knows he can play. With Akins, he just thought he was a better basketball player than what he, might have been. But
And it's possible to. And look, with Cohen, I think, he is a guy, when he plays, like when he sets that tone, they're up 14-8 when he finally sits down. He's got 8 points already, 2 rebounds.
Right.
When he does that, everybody realizes, okay, they're in the fight. Like and he athletically elevates them. And previously he's been more of an equalizer, but they have some athletes now that I think make a difference on the wing. There are a lot of promising things to take out of that game. They may not have enough to be a true contender this year, but any talk about the bubble of the NCAA tournament, like not making the tournament at all, that's
long
out the
season.
window.
Hey, it's a long season.
Yeah.
Like we talked about, possible injuries. Can we talk about Kurtang?
Sure.
Where we go from here with Kurtang? Only 5 minutes. Is it going to be one of those things we just got to wait and wait?
Well, no.
Or should we just leave Kurtang alone and just set no expectations? And if
you don't wait, because they didn't wait. I mean, they stopped starting him. He came off the bench, and his role until he figures it out will diminish. The problem for MSU is that they could really use Kurtang to figure it out.
Right.
That's the thing. So you don't want to give up on him. You just can't wait on him. That's sort of a delicate balance of like not. You want to try to keep that guy in some confidence, because there are skills within Kurtang that could really help this team. His shooting and whatnot, even if he's not the greatest defender. If he's a guy who becomes a knockdown 3-point shooter off the bench, which he is a great 3-point shooter, you just got to do it in games. But if he could do that, and he could, even if he's playing 15 minutes a night and he's giving you some of that outside shooting that you lack, or it would make a big difference for this team that has a lot of the other things. So you don't want to give up on him. You just can't wait for him. And they've got to strike that balance. And what you need from him, and the way the schedule's set up too, is you've got these games against Arkansas, and then you get a San Jose State, and then it's Kentucky, right? And then it's Detroit, and then it's East Carolina, and then it's North Carolina. So what I mean is there are these games in between the big games where a guy like that's got to have a day where he finds some confidence, and you hope it happens for him. And if you're a Michigan State fan, you should want it. Like, it doesn't matter what his role is right now, but they need and maybe it's somebody else who finds. I tend to think Trey Fort is what he is. And he's going to be a good role player that's going to have a few games where he scores a lot. He's always going to be confident. He's going to hit some big shots. He gives you a baseline at that position. He's going to take some shots that are going to piss Izzo off, and that's going to be kind of a give and take all year. And then there's Jordan Scott, who is just another guy who's really good ahead of his years a little bit. And the question with him is, obviously, with his length and sort of tenacity on the glass, and he gives you some things where he's going to be on the court already. The question with him also is, he's a shooter, right? That's why he was recruited in a lot of ways. He's a shooter with length. Can he start to make shots? If he does, then your answer is a lot there, right? There's a guy who's going to play 20 minutes a night who can hit some shots for you, and you might be okay. I think that's the reason you're not overly concerned so far at the two-guard position. It's concerning in the sense that you don't have it right now. That the shortcomings you have right now will certainly hurt you to some degree. Like, you don't win this game if it's on the road or a neutral court game, despite some of the things that went very well for you, despite Cam Ward, despite Cohen Carr.
Despite 1 for 14 from 3.
So I'm
sorry, I just got to keep looking at that when I look at the box score.
Yeah, you won't.
Gives me PTSD, from last year.
You're not going to beat Kentucky in Madison Square Garden doing that. But you have to hope on your roster that there are a couple guys, especially Scott and Kurtang, who have a little more to them and will get there. And that's really what it's going to come down to. If they don't, then there is a definite ceiling to this team.
And we said, would somebody please guard somebody?
What's your first take?
Big night.
Fuego, gracias, señor. Vamos, Lions.
Vámonos, a ver, 1, 2, 3.
Vamos, Lions.
So sorry I doubted the king. Dan Campbell, DC, taking over the reins as OC, which is great. I like to see that. But my question is this. What goes on with Morton for the rest of the season here? Like, how do you go about the rest of the way? And I know you don't want to fire guys and stuff like that, but how do you, if you're Morton, right, Graham? What's your position? Like, how do you? Does he come back to calling plays this Sunday against Philly?
No, I don't think so.
Is he done for the rest of the season? I know that Dan had a great answer post game of talking about these guys are still involved. I'm still on the headset. I'm talking to those guys, and that's a great stock answer. But if you're Morton, you're going like, I guess I'm out of here, right?
Well, so a couple things I want to ask you about this. Like, early in the year, Morton looked pretty good. There were some games, right? Everybody was in on Morton, and then they fell out on Morton.
Yeah.
And Dan Campbell did. I tell you, the timing of Dan Campbell doing this against a really bad Washington defense was helpful for him. I'm not sure Morton would have looked bad this week calling that. So the question is, did he just do it because they needed a jolt? He needed to show this is the priority.
And it helped that Decker played as well.
Yeah.
And thank God Sewell's okay.
So I don't know what he'll do. But
yeah.
We see this all the time with like dual coordinator roles or people who are pass game, run game coordinators. You're still part of the game planning. You're part of the conversation. You obviously won't be back next year. I mean, that's part of the understanding. If you're the offensive coordinator and at some point in the year the play calling duties are taken from you, you're not coming back. But it doesn't mean for the rest of the year you don't have a role.
Seems like it would be hard to come back from that, right?
Yeah, it's tough. It's not
kind
fun.
of like it's a public showing of. So now the fan base is going like, see, Dan Campbell had to take the reins back over. So anything Morton does the rest of the season, let's say Dan actually takes the readers off and goes, okay, Johnny boy, you call the plays again. Because, yeah, he hasn't looked, absolutely inept, but, I mean, there's been some third down percentages. I know it was 5 for 10 yesterday against Washington. So, I mean, it's getting better, but I thought we ran the ball a lot better. And so, yeah, it was just a weird I know that he did it with Anthony Lynn back in the day, but that was at the infancy of the Dan Campbell era. So you were kind of like, we all knew what Anthony Lynn was back then. But, I mean, it's just weird to have a guy that follows Ben Johnson. And all of a sudden Dan Campbell's doing it this early and taking over the play calling. But
yeah,
it was a great win yesterday. I'm really sad I doubted when we did the picks with Harry and I was chicken shit to give the 9.5. But yeah, after a loss, we always bounce back like that.
And it was a needed game to do that because, they got Philly obviously next week. It
was a must win.
Yeah. It's a
absolute must win. That's all I did. That's why I hate that when the game's on at 4 o'clock because it seems like all day long I'm just walking around going, it's a must win. It's an absolute must win. So next Sunday is going to even be worse because it's not on until 8 o'clock.
Did you see the touchdown call that Dan Campbell fist pumped before the play, knowing it was going to be a touchdown to Jameson Williams?
I did not see that, no.
So apparently there's a video out there Like he gives this.
Is it real? Is it AI?
No, I think no. It's real. I mean, it's a somebody taking a screenshot of the broadcast. I think they cut in like he gives like a full fist pump after based on his play call. He was that excited about the play he just called. Now maybe it was doctored. You can't trust anything anymore. I mean, I was pissed off. One of the reasons I think AI should go away, and I use it occasionally for help. My wife uses it all the time, and I know there are good things about it here and there. But when you cannot trust a proper baby video or cat video or fun pet video being real, then we've gone too far. Like that's enough to take the whole damn thing away because all of those are AI now. What used to be cute and fun and cool, now is fake, and you still watch it, which speaks to our dumbness in our head. But like that alone should
you can still kind of find which ones are fake.
That should be the line.
You can get fooled a little bit, but then when you rewatch it, you're like, how did I get fooled? Like there's a Tiger Woods video where he hits a putt, and then before it's even like in the cup, he goes and like fist pumps and does that thing. It looks real, but it's not real. As humans, once we have gone that far, that is the line. That's ruining it for everybody else. Yeah. We don't. That's enough. That's why I prefer the Matt Drolet kind of AI stuff. Yes, obvious AI. By the way, teacups.org if you want a mug or magnets with Matt Drolet's AI. The mugs are cool too. Yes, the mugs. Two people really cool. Ordered a mug over the weekend. So yeah, thank you. Teacups.org. I love the way you say that. Like well, I got to promote it. Yeah. No, it's just your very promotional voice. Yeah. That's what it's one of your. It's better than it's almost better than your Coach K voice. No. So one other thing I wanted to get into. Yeah. Jonathan Smith's press conference Monday today was leading into the Penn State game coming out of the bye week. One of the things that he was asked about and then clarified as well was the situation at the end of the Minnesota game with the refs and the decision to pull the flag. They had a flag and then the pass interference call, and then they basically spotted the ball in overtime and then got together and said it's not a penalty after they had spotted the ball. And Smith talked to the Big Ten about this, and they said that basically mechanically that's not how it's supposed to happen. The Big Ten admitted they screwed it up and they should do better. I bet those refs have been downgraded and
Big Ten plus his ass.
Downgraded and just the thing that's sucks is that doesn't change the result of the game. And I think we have to get to a point where we understand what happens to an officiating crew when things like that happen. And it's a little more public because everybody else in this world has accountability, right? To some degree. Maybe not us, maybe not you and I, but none. Certainly Jonathan Smith is dealing with accountability right now, right? He's probably going to lose his job. The players deal with accountability. Everybody has accountability. Did you say probably? Oh, no. No, I'm not. Are you saying there's a chance he's coming back? I didn't. I'm sorry. Sorry, I got to read tea leaves. No one tells me anything. No tea leaves here. All right. And that just shouldn't be that way. It's one thing to miss a judgment call. It's one thing to throw the flag on pass interference when it wasn't pass interference, or not throw it when it was. Like those are things that happen in real time in a difficult sport to officiate. We all understand that. You can screw that up. We can yell at you. We can, over time if you do that enough, it'll cost you. But we all understand that. It's the stuff when it's the way the job works. Like you don't do things like spot the ball, then have a conversation, then change your mind. And you should all know that. It's like if we did this whole podcast, but you forgot to record it, and we were just doing it to nothing, right now? Yeah. Like if you did that, like that would be problematic. Just the mechanics of it, you would know that's something you don't do. You might say something dumb on air when you're panicked. All of a sudden something goes wrong and you throw Therese under the bus. Everybody understands that. That's natural. That's a human thing to do. But you ultimately have to hit record on the podcast. You have to, and so that's what bothers me. That we don't have a sense of a public apology. We have to hear it from the head coach. That we don't have a sense of what happened to these guys, why it happened, their explanation for it. All of that needs to change. It absolutely needs to change. There's just too much at stake. Jonathan Smith, the cake's probably baked on what's going to happen to him. But you think about it, if a couple games went differently or whatever, like he might be really coaching for his job right now. And you get a situation where that happens. To me, That's unacceptable, and
that's what surprises me with talking about some of these gambling things, especially the thing that came out with the Guardians relievers and they're indicted now and all that stuff. I mean, we need to talk about referees and how easy it would be to get to them in this gambling kind of thing, right? Because a lot of these guys have to work a second job, or some of the guys in the lower FBS kind of leagues or something like that, they don't make as much money, so you could probably get to them more than you could a guy that's making $20 million a year. You need, and we don't really talk about it as much as we do the players, and everybody's worried about how the gambling thing is going to flip everything on its ass. I think we just don't have any transparency with the referees.
That's the word. We need transparency in everything. And look, there needs to be a lot more transparency in college sports. Right now, there's talk about like a private equity deal with the Big Ten that Michigan and USC aren't really into, that everybody else wants, that'll get at least $135 million up front to every school and more to others. And like, private equity, bringing that into college athletics, not good on its own.
No.
We need to hear a good explanation from Tony Batiti, who is not the owner of the Big Ten. He is a steward right now. And these member institutions, of why this should happen now when it could threaten the Big Ten, it could threaten college sports. Like, there needs to be more transparency across the board. We need less of Jonathan Smith and other coaches saying, I wish there was transparency with NIL. Well, you know what? Tell us what your NIL budget is.
Yeah.
Tell us you don't have to tell us what specific players are making, but tell us the mechanics of that. It's all there for you. Like, more transparency in all of it. And but that the officiating is part of that, and that needs to be a pretty big call for it.
But why withhold what the players are making? What does that matter?
Well, I think
we do know the players. I think it's worse that we don't know, and we have to assume what they're making.
Well, and I think we know they're all making $15 to $16 million in the rev share, but I think beyond the rev share, schools don't want to look bad. They don't want to have comparisons to other places. They think it's a competitive disadvantage is why they don't do it, and that's the reason for it. But frankly, just don't say you want transparency anymore. But I just think sunshine on almost anything makes it better. But on officiating right now, I think over time it would benefit the officials. It would make them more human if we knew their name. I mean, their names are on the sheet, but if we got, look, if an official makes a mistake and they admit they made a mistake, everybody forgives that to the most part. There are some nutcase fan bases, and it costs a program or a team enough. But that's everywhere. I mean, especially in the South.
Like Jim Joyce with Armando Galarraga back in
the
day, right? He came out, he started crying and all that shit.
Does anybody hate Jim Joyce today?
You can't.
No, right?
You might for a second or say,
right,
fuck that guy, but then you go, Yeah. Especially if you watch that 30 for 30. But with back to the private equity, though, my question is, when you get this money, you have to realize, though, if you're a university, like, well, what else are they going to want down the road?
Yeah.
Like, people are just going to hand you $123 million, and then they think, what? You just don't have to.
They get
anything on the back end of that?
They have a stake in the conference, and then the question is, what sort of decision making will they have, and influence, and all. There are a lot of things, and look, you may be able to with one specific deal have parameters that work for you, but the bigger problem is it's more than 100. What is it, 135 to 190, depending on the brand of the. Not everybody gets the same amount, which is also problematic, I think, in the Big Ten. But also, this is money that fixes some problems for some teams. It fixes issues with coaching buyouts, new coaches. It fixes some issues up front. And if you can be really disciplined after you fix these issues and living within your means, that's fine. But college sport, people have never been able to live within their means in college football and college athletics very well. And I don't have a lot of faith that this is not just a Band-Aid that gets you into further debt, and you're going to need more private equity to get you out of that going forward, and relinquishing more decision-making, and it just gets further and further away from what college sports are supposed to be. That said, part of that now is, players are making money, and that's a big part of why the finances are where they are right now. And so the players have some culpability is the wrong word, but they're part of this too. They're part of this conversation, and people may need to at some point be more frugal in terms of, and more realistic with what they offer players. The problem is, to compete, that's hard to do, right? So it's not a great situation, but more transparency. Tony Batiti making the case, like the Big Ten. The Big Ten is all of us. Everybody who roots for a Big Ten team or covers a Big Ten team or went to a Big Ten school, and you need to make the case, I think, before you do something this drastic, and it'll be interesting to see where it goes. You have anything else before we?
I do, real quickly, about the Skubal thing. I did see this clip this morning. Jeff Passan was on the Rich Eisen show. This was last week, but this clip, let me just play this little part for you.
Jeff?
Not only would the Tigers like to resign Tarik Skubal, Tarik Skubal would like to stay in Detroit too. He really likes it there. He loves A.J. Hinch. Chris Fetter and Robin Lund, the pitching coaches there, are excellent. And they're the organization that not only took a chance on him, but helped him turn into the best pitcher in the world. And yet, Tarik Skubal's a free agent after this season in 2000.
So basically, what I took from that is Tarik Skubal likes it in Detroit. Are you shocked by that? Because I've never heard him really speak like how much that he loves the organization. He likes being in, because a lot of it is all you hear are the headlines about how far apart the Tigers and Skubal are. So I thought that was an interesting thing.
Yeah, but he said that I think he does like.
I'm not saying you have to give us a hometown deal or anything, but I think you have to be realistic of, especially Scott Boras, of like how many teams are going to offer Skubal that much money.
Yeah, we just don't know it. And the big thing is if he wasn't a pitcher too, it would be easier, right? Because like obviously we all remember Miguel Cabrera and the final years were rough.
Yep.
But you knew year to year before those final years exactly what he was going to be for quite a while. And
during that Triple Crown year,
you're
like, okay, well, we're going to pay for it at the end. But
with a pitcher, you just never know when the arm is going to fall off. So the length of time is a little scary.
Sure.
And the problem is, though, you also have a guy that, what was his wins above replacement, like 7 last year or something like that. Like, you're not in the playoffs if it's not for Tarik Skubal. Like, and if you're trying to be a playoff team and a World Series team year over year, like, I don't know. To me,
I just think it all changes if he stays in that game against the Guardians and he actually acts. I don't know. I'm sorry.
Leaving after 6 innings, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, with Passett saying that, I've watched pretty much every Tigers game this year. I've watched a lot of, I have never heard Skubal come out. Maybe I missed an interview or something like that, how much that he loves it here. But I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to matter. I think Scott Boras is a guy who, unfortunately, when you sign with him as a client, you relinquish your soul, and you basically take the highest bidder, and your happiness be damned. Apparently, that's the way it works. I don't get it. I mean, I know there will be other agents like him that will take his place, but the world would be better without Scott Boras existing as an agent. It just would. And so,
maybe that'll happen in 2027 when there's a work stoppage in Major League Baseball.
I would love Scott Boras to be retired pretty quick. I don't want any pain. I'm not going to push him downstairs or anything like that. But I would like him to be.
You're pretty good at that, though.
I'd never have done that.
Get rid of Boras that way.
Just saying, it would improve a lot of lives, a lot of fans. I think it would improve players' lives. I think it would improve a lot of things. And you're right about that. That's another thing to consider. If there's going to be a work stoppage in 2027, how contracts looking at. I hope baseball doesn't. Baseball's finally gotten its stuff together.
They can't do it.
It would be the absolute worst if that happens. By the way, this weekend, which is an unbelievable weekend for Michigan State sports, for Lions, for sports in general, all of it, pretty much except for the Big Ten Plus stuff, available on Xfinity. And I've got it right in front of me on the shitty TV that Jason thinks I've got on my second TV, went with the treadmill, which all the TVs I like. The TVs are not the problem. Whatever TV you have, Xfinity will work on. And I stream Xfinity with Xfinity Stream. They've got all sorts of great stuff. And one of the things they do, obviously, is home internet. And their lowest price, $40 a month, right? And that's for a year. And then there is a 5-year deal. It's $55 a month where you can lock in those savings. If you go to Xfinity.com, you put in your address, you'll see the best offer there. You can bundle home internet with TV, and then also with mobile. They have the coverage area of Verizon, but at better prices there, and they're happy to bundle that stuff for you at Xfinity.com. But a lot of things I saw this weekend on Xfinity. The best thing I saw, I would say, was most entertaining thing I saw all weekend was the one thing you couldn't see on Xfinity, which was MSU hockey beating Penn State and the way those two games went, and that they look like a juggernaut. That team, 4 lines deep. I mean, first game it's the fourth line and Shouty and scores the game winner in overtime as that group often does. And they've got. I mean, look, in hockey you can lose in a single elimination thing, and I get it, and we'll deal with that when Michigan State gets to the postseason. But they are equipped to deal with a lot of single elimination situations. That looks like a team that's they're certainly, I think, better than any team that I've seen at Michigan State in the time I've been covering them, dating back quite a while. And then, my recollection of those teams in the 80s and 90s is there, but I don't really have an ability to recall it and have a comparison. But they are something else right now. Let us dig into your hot takes. You ready?
All right. Yep. Let's do it. Eric Schultz up first. Number 1, MSU seems to possess the qualities of a classic Izzo squad. Impressive win. 2, it's puzzling to me how a year after three-point shooting was the biggest weakness, we'd roll into this season with so few proven shooters. And 3, so nice not having a football game.
Yeah, a lot of people feel that way. Let's go to number 2 here, because I think Caleb Glenn's injury hurt. They thought they were going to have one more guy shooter on the wing with Caleb Glenn, who, I don't know exactly what he would have been as a shooter. He was, good a year ago at FAU, but not, as a freshman at Louisville. But, I think he would have been a capable shooter on the wing. And he obviously got hurt early enough that if they wanted to do something over the summer, they could have. I think they thought they'd be better. And I think they thought Kurt Tang would be more ready, and they knew he was a shooter. But it is a criticism, and it's, when you look at what this team doesn't have, they're basically Jace Richardson away from, to me, being like a top couple team in the country that's got to be one of the favorites to win a national title. Now, a lot of teams are a Jace Richardson away from that. He was a special player, but, in this day and age, do you just go get that guy, or do you spend whatever it takes to get him? With the freshman who wound up at Maryland, the kid they were recruiting late, Adams, right? That was a kid where they got outbid for, and I'm not sure they wanted to put as much money into it as Maryland did. You see next year with Josiah Jervis, though, they, from everything I understand, that they were there financially with him, and so there's a clear understanding.
As they should be, shouldn't they?
Yeah, and there's a clear understanding.
Izzo's second natty. Let's go.
Well, but yeah.
I'm spend, dude.
Yeah, no, it's. I would say there should be a little frustration there, but I do think it's still early enough to not be sure that that's going to be a for sure detriment. It's a detriment right now. It's probably a detriment against Kentucky in this first month of the season and all that stuff. What can Jordan Scott become as a complete player? And they're going to need that. They're going to need him to continue to play the way he is, but also shoot. And then can Kurt Tang find it as a role player who's a shooter? And I think that still perhaps exists, but they're going to need that for sure.
Dominic next. Number 1, Gibbs might be my favorite player to watch. It's the saddest part of being a Lions supporter versus a Lions fan. Unfortunately, I'm stuck with my fraudulent Care Bears. We can't all be fair weather savages like Graham with his Denver Broncos. And 2, MSU hockey and basketball may never be more important. Can tell the Hoops team is going to face some real issues, but passion and effort are so desperately needed that I can't even be mad. Love those kids. Hockey team is just next level elite, and it feels like those late 90s teams. And 3, gambling is the fucking Antichrist. Fuck you, Aronde Gatson Jr. and Sr., and anyone in the Gadsden bloodline. Oh, and the Mormons. And fuck the fucking Bills. Fuck them all.
I think a lot of people had the Bills on teasers. And
throw the Steelers in there, too.
Yeah.
Fuck the Steelers.
Man. Brutal.
Oh, my God. I'm done with the Steelers. Fuck Tomlin.
So I nailed a bet last night. I had the Steelers in a 13-point teaser that was plus 16.
Oh, my
and I thought I was cooked. I was like, screw these guys. And then they get that late touchdown to lose by 15, and it all came, but usually it's not the way things go. Good news for you, Dominic. I'm gonna just make you feel good and make Lions fans not. I don't think they re-sign Jahmyr Gibbs when his contract's up, so he might be a Bear. So you can look at it like that, Dominic.
Why wasn't that one of your hot takes?
Because at some point
you talking about?
You can't sign running backs, and
you can
really,
yeah. When they're like Jahmyr Gibbs. What are you talking about?
We'll see.
Look what happened with Saquon Barkley. They don't want to be the Giants. The Lions do.
How much money do they have left?
A lot. Okay. What are you talking about?
All right.
Sheila Hamp, she can't take it with her. Neither can Martha. Leave it. You can give it to Rod Wood. Moneybag. Number 1, there aren't many schools that can give their fans a better experience than fans who went to Munn and Breslin on Saturday got. 2, this basketball team is just like last year. Might be overmatched against the top couple teams in the country, but they're winners.
Yeah, and to what degree they're overmatched, it might look different. Like, I think they might, the shooting's an issue there, right? Do they have the offensive punch? But I think athletically they're better than last year, because last year they were small. I mean, they were really good at the guard positions, but they were small there. I think Jordan Scott being like a 6'6", 6'7", 2'3" is helpful here. And, and obviously I think Cam Ward athletically is fine, and we saw that. And so, the Cam Ward ascension here, the reason that's so important is one guy who I think still needs a little more time is Jesse McCulloch, right? You can tell. And so now that Cam Ward's playing like that, you've got a 3-man rotation with him, Kohler, and Cooper that pretty much that takes, if you want it, all your minutes at the 4 and 5. And maybe you throw Cohen Carr at the 4 sometimes. We saw that a little bit, and he can go to either position in certain lineups. But you're going to wind up with more Kohler at the 5 next to Cam Ward. But that's a really nice, in terms of athletic and rebounding, matchup for most teams in college basketball. So, I mean, they may wind up overmatched in certain ways because somebody has more firepower. I think it'll look different than the overmatch last year. We saw sort of the end where athletically they looked like they didn't quite have quite enough.
David Jackson next. Cam Ward and Jordan Scott in 2 hours just raised this MSU team ceiling and floor. They're the 5th and 6th best players on the team after the 4 captains. But until Ugachukwu becomes a reliable point guard, that ceiling will not be as high as we need it to be. And from PZ, if this is who Cam Ward is, I think it takes a big chunk of pressure off Carr. And bonus from PZ. John Morton, get ready to learn Indeed.com, buddy.
Yeah, he's gonna need a new gig next year.
Is that where coordinators go? Indeed,
yeah. They just go there. They're all the former coordinators are on Indeed. To David's point on, I do think Cam Ward takes some pressure off Carr, but Carr, what was so important about this game is he looked ready for the pressure. Like, this was a big game; they needed him to show up, and he understood it. And it was interesting talking to him because I had forgotten that before this year he had started one game in his career. It was last year against Ole Miss in the NCAA tournament. He just talked about how his whole routine was, he watched the game, he watched how the game was going, he saw how he could fit in, and then he would come into the game and try to provide energy. He had never really been somebody who had to, like, from the jump, be the guy, which is sort of a mental adjustment that was for him at MSU. Just something I hadn't really thought of and what that is for, and he just realized I cannot wait. I cannot allow myself to sort of fit in and find where things go. It has to be immediate, and it has to be for this team. So I thought that was important. I do think this was a team that was called Strength in Numbers a year ago. That is not this team. This team has very specific guys they cannot live without. They cannot deal with an injury to Cohen Carr. If Jeremy Fears was to get in foul trouble or hurt or anything like that, they're in deep shit, right? That guy is the guy who runs the show. They do need guys to get better, though, so they can have reliable minutes without them. And it will be interesting to see sort of what Fears will wear down. The way they need Fears to play, you don't want him playing more than 32 minutes a game, tops, something like that. And they do need guys they can count on at that position. And Ugachukwu is still a young player. Trey Fort is a guy that I don't think they plan on using in that realm, but could. Somebody who came up a point guard. I'll be very curious to see how that position develops and what they can get out of it and what they trust.
Alex Mayer next. Number 1, Trey Holloman is exactly the type of player this team is going to miss this year. And 2, Kurt Tang might go from starter to less than 5 minutes a game in the span of about 5 games if things don't change quickly. And 3, Ward and Scott are classic Izzo-type players. Both have impressed early in their careers.
Boy, they struck gold on those two guys. I mean, that's 2 freshmen who are just ready. And that's, that doesn't always happen. It's not just ready. Like, Ward's like, at first, I mean, there's he looks a little like Raymar Morgan in certain ways in terms of how ready he is.
He's a bull in a china closet.
I think he's a better rebounder. But yeah, the Cam Ward get was amazing. The Trey Holloman, though, 100%. Like, if you put Trey Holloman on this team, not only is he starting off the ball, and you sort of have two guys who can handle the ball, which takes some pressure off Jeremy Fears. Like, I don't think Trey Holloman understood how well he would fit into this roster. It would be perfect. And would he become the consistent shooter that they need? I mean, a couple years ago he was above 40% from three. Could he have that sort of season? I don't know, but we've seen, we saw it in Michigan last year where he hit 5 threes and all those sort of things. Trey Holloman would have been a starter this year, and he would have had the ball in his hands plenty. And the thing that, and good, he wanted to be the starting point guard. He's getting that right now at NC State. He's getting paid really well. He's got a coach who's good tactically down there, and Will Wade, whatever you think about him else otherwise. I'm not knocking Trey Holloman for looking for a better spot, but in MSU, not only would he been a legend after last year, he would have been starting at the 2 guard and playing every minute of the backup point guard next to Fears. So you're talking probably 12 minutes a game at point guard and 18 at 2 guard and playing a ton. And that guy right there, to lose, when you look at this roster construction, to lose Jace Richardson, who they didn't realize was going to be that good, and then was, and obviously, made sense to go. He's a first-round pick. And then Trey Holloman. You just think if they had either one of those guys is in that other spot, this team would look a little different, and we just wouldn't have the questions we do.
Spartan 18770 next. Number 1, Saturday night provided a cathartic cleansing of the soul for a downtrodden Spartan fan base. 2, if Jonathan Smith on the sideline showed a tenth of what Izzo did Saturday, Smith wouldn't be on the hot seat right now. And 3, games like Saturday should always be played in a college setting.
Yeah, more home and home. I mean, the Champions Classic's fun, and some these games over Thanksgiving on neutral sites I get, but it
was a good vibe.
Yeah, it's incredible, and it will be good for MSU next year to go down to Arkansas. It'll be a tough setting, right? And I'm sure their fans will show up, even if they're don't have quite the fan base with the students around the court that MSU does and everything. But there's what Arkansas will get out of that game is a ton. Like John Calipari was talking about his freshmen making selfish decisions late when other guys were open and on big shots and taking the shots themselves and things like that. Like, they'll learn from all that, and that was a setting you grow from. Like, they'll get so much out of that. There's so much value in that for the team. I don't know why more coaches don't want that. You can withstand that loss. Does not hurt. That loss will not hurt Arkansas. Seeding will not hurt anything about their season, one iota. Anything, if anything, it'll benefit them a ton. And I don't understand why more coaches don't want that.
Andrew Zuiza next. Jason, very entertaining starting the show with a marital spat and then working in how she saved your life at every opportunity for the rest of the show. Did it work? Well, she knows that. I tell her that all the time. Yeah, no, it's totally rectified and good.
What was the first conversation you had with her? Because when we left Friday, we were talking out in the studio. I wished you good luck because you were heading on your way, and I just wondered how quickly you
it was talked about on the phone. Everything was handled, and the weekends were great. And yeah,
that's right. This was Bachelor Jason weekend. How was it?
It's amazing as always. What are you talking about? Every weekend's great, to be honest with you. The football Sundays are amazing. And
you guys usually do a big spread. Did you do less of a spread when it's just
There was no spread. I ordered pizza yesterday.
Yeah.
Andrew and Monica came over from Groovy Donuts. They brought their own kind of leftovers, so they used my air fryer. But yeah, it's totally a different spread when it's me, just me. Yeah. People know that. Well, I'm just saying, cutting up veggies and shit. I'm not going to do that. I don't know.
No, I'm just glad the marriage is still intact because tea is really key to this show. I mean, it would,
yeah,
key to your life and key to happiness.
No tea, no me. So yeah, that's fine.
That needs to be on a T-shirt.
Teacups.org. Kurt Wisniewski, head coach Dan Campbell should be calling the offense for the rest of the season and continue getting his daily 2 venti Starbucks black eyes. The hell, is that real? Is that a drink? Okay. Bonus, MSU basketball is so much different than last year. Dominant in the paint and no outside shooting. 7% from 3?
Well, the good news is they didn't take 30 of them like they would have last year. So if you're not going to shoot, like they didn't take a lot of bad threes. And so that's promising. At least they're not like last year, their identity was supposed to be wrapped up partly in the 3-point shooting. At least they don't think that, right? So, my issue with Starbucks is I never know the sizes anymore because around here we have Big B, right? Big B's almost run Starbucks out of the market. I never know. Like I'm like just that size right there, that 20 ounce. I always point to. Is that venti? Yeah,
Grande?
Yeah.
I'm not a coffee guy.
I used to before I was before I had doctors who told me I couldn't drink what I used to drink and eat what I used to eat, and now I'm just a black coffee guy.
You stopped listening to him?
Well, no, I told you the story about when I lived in Kalamazoo, as I did, and there was a Starbucks in the sort of upscale grocery store right down the street from me, where I spent like $30 a day grocery shopping instead of doing like a once a week, as one does in their 20s when they're single. But they had a Starbucks in the store, and there was this. And my whole thing was, if I did not have to say my order, the tip was enormous. Ugh. If I had to say it, no tip.
Ugh.
Because it was
because you're a douche.
No, it was cinnamon dolce latte grande with whip and sprinkles.
Yeah,
I don't want to say that out loud.
So you leave no tip. So
if I have
supposed
to,
to know your order.
Well, I had been there enough. Yeah. If it was a new person, no, that's a story we're telling, presented by Midtown Brewing Company.
Makes
where I
sound
always
like a douche. No tip for you if you don't remember my drink.
You want me to really sound like a douche? I can tell you that particular.
It's poor people. These fucking baristas that have to deal with you and Detroit Dan. Like, oh my God,
that was
don't pay these ladies enough. Or
so we've joked about me coaching 6-year-olds in soccer and everything like
without
that.
having a child of your own.
Correct.
Stealing people's cats.
Right.
Yeah, no.
But that particular time of my life, there was a barista who I kind of fancied. And anyway, we were chatting throughout the whole, for a while, and then she's just gone for a while. And I don't know what's happened. I'm like,
go down a flight of stairs too.
No, and then she's back one day, and I we had been talking at this point. I never knew her name, or we just a little flirtatious, but she knew my drink, whatever, for several years. And
that's creepy.
I said, you're back. Where'd you go? She goes, I was away at school. I was like, oh, grad school? What? She goes, no, I was a freshman somewhere. Which meant she was like 15 when I first started hitting on her. That was not good at all. Yeah,
you waited.
I stopped going because I was so humiliated by it. Just the thought of, first of all, I didn't know children were allowed to be employed at 15. Not my fault. But anyway, that was bad. It was not great.
She didn't appear to be 15 at all, or the fact that she
did not
3 hours a week.
She did. She was always there when I was there.
Hey, did you get kidnapped? Like, where would she go?
Story I shouldn't have told, but told anyway. Presented by our friends at Midtown Brewing Company, where their whole staff is of age. Don't have to worry about that if you want to hit on the waitress or bartender. So
you fancied a 15-year-old at one point without knowing it.
I don't know if they're 15, 16 maybe. I was not good. I was in my 20s, but still, it was not great. Presented by Midtown Brewing Company. Great. I don't even know if I should do the live read off of that.
Probably should.
Let's move on. Yeah.
G.E. Miller, this MSU basketball team will set a record for the worst team three-point shooting percentage in D1 for a season in the last 3 decades. 26.4% is the current record, and from BPA. This has the makings of the worst shooting Izzo team ever. Wait till Game 5. Defenses will be sagging more than orangutan boobies. Bigs and slashers desperately need someone to open up the D. I'm very worried. Can't overstate this fatal flaw.
So this is an important point, though, because teams will scout them differently if they can't hit shots. They're going to have to hit open shots. And I think Jeremy Fears will. I mean, even last year, he hit more open threes than you thought he hit. He's done okay from that. This year, I think, they are going to hit open shots, but they're going to need to because it will get harder for Cam Ward and Cohen Carr, and it'll get harder for Jackson Kohler. I think Kohler's a guy, and I'm still surprised that the three hasn't started to go for him. But they need, that would just change so much if he can start hitting threes in terms of opening things up. They need it to happen because the season will get tough on them, and they will lose a lot of games because of it. Their floor will still be high enough to safely be in the tournament and all that stuff. But, the good news for them is three-point shooting wasn't expected to be part of their identity, and it's not, and they seem to have found an identity, and they seem to be good at it. But ultimately, if you're not adequate at three-point shooting, it'll become hard to do a lot of the other things they want.
Couch on fire, oh ye of little faith. MSU starting again with horrible three-point shooting, even though it didn't impact them too much last year. Nice win, but those last 5 minutes were brutal. A bit of an Izzo-level defense thrown in there. Bonus, did someone take the Commanders and the points?
You didn't actually bet it, though.
No, it was a fade. It was absolute fade. But, yeah. Listen, I didn't know Dan Campbell was going to take over the reins of offensive coordinator. You would have told me that. It would have changed my mind.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know if Decker was going to play. The offensive line scared me.
You could tell right away, though, that Washington was overmatched.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was pretty quick. It was one of those things that I didn't end up betting it, but I thought early in the game I was like, boy, maybe this is time to jump on it. But by the time I did, the line was like 14.5 or something. I got a little nervous.
Unbettable.
Some
of the props are unbettable.
Yeah,
Tesla getting 11 yards instead of 15. It was great.
To his point on MSU, it was funny. They didn't score a field goal in the final 6:02. What's a very typical Izzo team is when they don't score for the final 6 minutes, and you don't actually realize it because they're able to keep the score at the.
And we said, would somebody please guard somebody?
At the same level.
All right, Jay Brew next. Fears is a first-team All-Big Ten trash talker. He was in the Hogs Head all night and from the Eponine of Southern Maine. Prayers up for Jeremy Fears' stamina. Divine is nearly unplayable. Taking San Jose State and the points Thursday, Ugochukwu needs to get 15 minutes so Fears isn't burnt out by conference play. It will cost the team short-term, but a 10-point win will be worth it in the long run.
You may be right about that. And there are certain guys they need to develop that they need to keep playing, and I think Kurt Tang is one of those guys too. Like, I just don't think, you can be frustrated by Kurt Tang, and he may not be 100% ready, but like the ceiling with Kurt Tang being a capable player who hits shots for them versus their ceiling with him just being a guy who's relegated to the bench entirely is different, and it's probably the same for Ugochukwu. So maybe you do. One of the big things about winning that game is of your 4 big games, you've now already won one of them. You probably want to at least win 2 of them, right? You want to win a couple of them just for seeding and for how you feel about yourself and not lose 3 straight of them. But you've already won one, and I'm not saying you're not throwing games, but you do need to force to let guys develop in tough situations and grow, and because this is your team. Your team is not. If this was the NCAA tournament, you do whatever it takes to win, and if Fears playing 38 minutes is what it takes on a given night, you do that. But you're not going to do that in November against Kentucky because the win doesn't mean more than the long-term development of your roster. You're not wearing somebody down to what end. I agree. I mean, there's a development component of this team that still has a ways to go, that has some possibilities that they need to not give up on.
But what do you think about Ugo? Did he just play I don't know, not out of control? Like, what did you think of his game? I didn't think it was terrible. I just think that he was just playing in front of a crowd that maybe he wasn't used to or something. And
he just looks like a backup point guard out there. He looks like, you want to go back to the Cleaves era. If Fears is Cleaves, he looks like Doug Davis. So many people remember that name. Who eventually transferred to Miami, Ohio. Like he's got some ability.
So a good start is what you're saying.
Well, I mean, but just it gets you through. And
you remind me of Doug Davis, man.
Doug Davis got him through some minutes on a Big Ten championship team. So I don't know. I think that, it's a good question. He doesn't stand out right now, and I think in some ways that's a good thing. He didn't stand out as somebody when he's out there. It's like, oh my God, what the heck? And maybe that's okay. I think defensively, I think he'll be fine offensively. I think the question is defensively, what can he be? Can he be somebody they can trust for a few minutes?
Spartholomew next. MSU basketball will at least go 1-2 in the remaining tough non-conference games. And bonus, Dan Granny Glasses Campbell will officially no longer be able to be seen as a meathead coach. Dude is a genius.
Do you think there's people out there that still think of Dan Campbell as a meathead?
I mean, probably, but they have no idea what they're talking. I mean,
I don't.
People on the outside, outside looking in, casual fans, they probably see him, view him as a meathead guy. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, he's got that initial vibe.
If you watch the Lions every week and you know the Lions and you follow the Lions like we do, then it's not a shock.
I think there are a lot of things that people appreciate again about Dan Campbell, and one of them is though his willingness to make tough decisions in season, like he just did. Like we've talked for years during the Mark D'Antonio era with coaches who when things weren't going that well.
Too
loyal, right? Dan Campbell did not. He told a great line of, it's hard to not throw an employee under the bus, but also do what needs to be done. And I thought the way he handled it post game, he did everything he could not to make John Morton sound like a dunce.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
While also saying, I thought our advantage was me. And I think he's just got great leadership instincts, but the willingness to make tough decisions is part of that job, and I think he's got it.
And I think that's where he's underrated, is the leadership and the way he talks to the team before the post game, the pre-game, the speeches and all that, and the way he speaks with the media. I just love him.
And I think
he's the best.
This goes back. You remember years ago there was that video of him in training camp talking about, guys, I'm not going to do anything to hurt you, but we have to tackle in camp. Like, we have to tackle. We have to be physical because this is going to matter in the season. And I remember what you could tell was just,
I watch it every week.
How much he cared about it. I think his players know he cares about them.
Oh yeah,
and that is also something that I think is an important. It's part of why
it's the way you see them play. Even in preseason games, you see the way the tackling is. It's just different than other teams that you watch. Dan Graham is correct that college football is a lesser product than NFL. But can we talk about the product of NCAA basketball? Watching two teams shoot 40% or less in a rock fight, which includes 50 free throws, is a tough watch. And 2, MSU is beating Penn State and Maryland to finish 5-7. And 3, Izzo can make it to the tournament with the local YMCA roster. Oh, don't tell Graham that. He'll start playing at the YMCA.
Yeah, no, you're right in that sense that he seems to, but yeah,
don't coach my team.
This is more than that roster. What's funny is I thought this team reminded me a little of his very first team for a minute. I was like, is this who they're going to be? That was a good rebounding team. Didn't have great guard play. They're so much more talented than that group, but there seemed to be some tenets of that. That team could not shoot very well. They had one guy could hit threes, and Jason Klein, and it was just. And so this is like a better version of that in certain ways. But in that team, he got 16 wins out of. I mean, Izzo is an underrated coach, an underrated tactician in some ways, I think, because people see him for the yelling, and they see him. They don't see, you can't be somebody who doesn't understand how to get the most out of a roster year over year and make 30 straight NCAA tournaments, right? It just doesn't. It doesn't happen. I think he is underrated in that capacity. You're right on the product of NCAA basketball. I think the thing is, this is where national folks struggle. Again, when you care about your team, you don't care what it looks like. You want winning. You want excitement. And there are elements of it, though. There are too many free throws. The way the game is called, I know they're trying to make it less physical, but these guys aren't good enough to make it less physical. The court is too condensed. I would consider putting the three-point line back a little bit, because what that does is it creates more spacing, and the three-point line has gotten too easy for some of these guys, and it would put a premium on true shooters. I would consider that in the college game, but otherwise I don't know what you can do other than just be better at officiating it. Understand that there's some level of physicality that's okay.
I don't know. As a Michigan State fan, I don't want them to move it any farther back.
Well, yeah.
We need to closer.
But then everybody could go 1 for 14.
Right.
And then it wouldn't be so bad.
Andrew Gauthier. Number 1, snow in November is ass. 2, John Morton's days are numbered as Lions OC. And 3, Spartan Hoops has a legit shot at a Big Ten championship this season. Ward will be freshman of the year.
This is one of the reasons, though, you want a Muskox flannel. And go muskox.com. Again, Peacock for $15 off your Muskox flannel. Last night, last thing I want to do is
put on clothes.
Take the garbage and the recycling out to the curb, get them set up for the morning. There's snow everywhere on the ground. It's like 11 degrees out. And I'm wearing basketball shorts and a Muskox flannel. Right? Not maybe the best business look, but it's my around the house look. And I went outside wearing sandals, a Muskox flannel and basketball shorts, and I felt pretty damn good going all the way to the end of the driveway, coming back in, wasn't frigid. It just keeps your core so warm and so comfortable that you're okay. So, again, any facet of life, taking out the garbage, going to a holiday party, just chilling, watching football, watching soccer, whatever it might be, Muskox flannel is here for you. Go to gomuskox.com. Check out the difference for yourself. Again, Peacock for $15 off your Muskox flannel. You can look through their site and pick the one that looks best for your look. Again, if you got blue eyes, a little bit of blue in there, make some pop. I'm telling you right now. Go muskox.com.
Big John Hogg next. Number 1, MSU basketball team ceiling is probably a Sweet 16. The lack of a legit shooter will hurt, and this team will lose a few games it shouldn't. Excuse me. 2, Kurtang may not have a role if he can't play D. Fort and Scott will take his playing time. And 3, I love winter, but the first snow of the year is always ass, as is Big Ten Plus.
Big Ten Plus is ass.
Yeah, I wrote that column after the game Friday on
about Big Ten Plus.
Yeah, just about how the two hockey games against.
Wait, you're being serious? You wrote a column about it?
Well, just about how the hockey series against Penn State deserved to be on BTN, deserved to have a bigger audience, because it is ridiculous that, and I understand they have. I reached out to the Big Ten on this, and I was basically told they have men's basketball obligations on Friday night. Those obligations were like Northern Illinois versus Wisconsin, which was a blowout, and Ohio State, which even Ohio State fans don't care about Ohio State basketball this early in the year, against Fort Wayne, which nobody cares about, period. And that's your Friday night. Like, even people watching BTN deserve better. And that game Friday night, a 1-1 game that went to overtime, 2-1 Michigan State win, was a fantastic college hockey game with a ton of NHL draft picks on the ice. And like, that is just better. If you're showcasing your best athletes, if you're showcasing the best product, and I understand hockey doesn't always draw, you have to have the flexibility to get into that game. Now, what I was told is they did have a space for hockey Saturday night at 8, and that wound up being Wisconsin versus Michigan, because Michigan State, Penn State was up against Michigan State basketball at 7, so that game got moved to 4, which is up against football. Saturday was completely understandable. That was Michigan State basketball getting in the way of MSU hockey, which Izzo hates to hear, but ultimately that's just what it is. Friday night, though, the whole reason that Big Ten hockey exists, almost the entire reason, was programming for BTN on Friday nights. This is why the league came to be. Penn State starts hockey in like 2012, and that gives them 6 teams, which allows them to form a conference. Doesn't mean they have to. But BTN was looking for Friday night programming, and that was part of the discussion back then. Even though the WCHA and the CCHA said, we'll make sure you have Big Ten teams playing each other on Friday nights when you want those for TV purposes. And they destabilized college hockey entirely. They threatened the sport. I mean, it's a smaller community. It's 60 teams. Lots of teams didn't have places to go. Used to have these 2 great bus leagues, and the WCHA and the CCHA were, it's inexpensive to get to Ferris State. It's inexpensive, to get to Bowling Green. And now Bowling Green didn't have a place to go. Western Michigan has done well playing out west and all that, playing in a great league, and they just won a national championship. Financially, it has not been good for them. That has not been a win for Western Michigan hockey. The Big Ten destabilized all of college hockey so they could have Friday night programming on Big Ten Network. And then when you get number 1 versus number 3, Gavin McKenna versus a whole host of Michigan State guys who are draft picks, it's on BTN Plus. Like, that's shit. Like, if you're going to be in the business of hockey, be in the business of hockey. And I don't think if the Big Ten and BTN knew then what they know now for sure, that volleyball tends to outdraw it, that wrestling even does, that they were going to have access to Big Ten hoops on Friday night, that they would even have become a conference. I think you'd still have the WCHA and the CCHA as they used to be.
Pookie Maud next. Other than the Bears winning, it was a perfect sports weekend. It felt like a long time since something good has happened for MSU. Pistons in first, Dan Campbell calling plays, Izzo showing the old dog still has something up his sleeve, and MSU hockey dominating. Good shit.
I think this is Pookie Bear back. That's the big news of the day. Pookie Bear back. That's huge. Welcome back, man. We're happy to have you.
Was he 15? Did he go back to school?
No, Pookie Bear. We had him in studio once.
Oh, right.
Yeah. No, he's not. He didn't go back to school like I'm 15. Sorry. Now I get the reference. I missed it there. That's not what usually. I wish I hadn't told that story. I just can't believe
It really might be one you don't want to tell.
Well,
I'm not even going to lie. I enjoyed it, but man.
It's not great. I'm gonna have
quite the admission at the end of that story.
Like police out the door when I leave.
Like, dude, should we be checking his laptop? What's going on?
Me out here. Yeah, that would not be good. Yeah, no, I think it was a good weekend for a lot of the Pistons. I
love watching them.
Man, Cade Cunningham is something. And last night against Philly, late, he was. Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. And sometimes there are too many games in the NBA and NHL and all that stuff. But when you got a team playing like they are,
if you're going to play well, I'll watch.
Yeah, 100%.
C-Dubs 91 hot take: college basketball challenges need a timer. If you can't definitively overturn the call as the timeout timer 1 minute goes off, you lose the challenge. And best thing I saw this weekend: Graham macking on an 80-plus-year-old woman pregame on Saturday.
What?
Macking.
You're talking.
Boy, this is quite a show for you.
Yeah, quite
15,
a range.
You have a range of people.
A big range. Yeah. No,
yeah.
First of all, I think he saw me talking to Judith, who's one of our listeners, who's a loyal listener.
Oh yeah, I love Judith.
And Judith is like not even close to it. Judith is like mid-50s. So that's a. It was not an and great loyal listener. Was very pleased that she stopped and said hello.
Ken Chu, number 1, great weekend for MSU athletics. 2, it's a different game against Arkansas if Cooper doesn't take 2 quick fouls, bringing Cam Ward off the bench. And baked 3-pointers. We don't need no stinking 3-pointers.
Number 2 is interesting here. I do think Cam Ward and MSU was helped by Carson Cooper's foul trouble. I do not think he was Wally Pipp, though. Like you see at the end, Cooper is the key defender stopping an A-cuff from Arkansas, Darius A-cuff's drive, and like Carson Cooper is a very important part of this team. Him being out for a little while did allow Cam Ward to get going, but it's not. So I think in this particular case, him being out with a guy who hadn't had that sort of game and that sort of role was beneficial. But overall, you're going to need Carson Cooper, and he played a lot better. It was interesting. It was him and him and Cohen Carr, Cooper, Cohen Carr, and Jeremy Fears, who went out to Bodie's Steakhouse in downtown Lansing.
Oh yeah,
and
I read that. I had to look up that place.
Yeah, no, it's
like damn, dude, is that where the elite people go? I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, it's also right next to the strip club downtown. So I never know what's going on there. No, I'm not saying that's what lots of people go there without going to the strip club. I didn't mean to infer that. It's a very nice steakhouse. But they went there in part because they hadn't played well Monday night, and Cooper hadn't played very well, and Cohen Carr hadn't played very well, and they were just trying to figure out what needed to be done, and they understood it. And Cooper played a lot better, and obviously the foul trouble wasn't helpful, but he was really good in the second half defensively, and you can see how he and Kohler and Cam Ward together is a nice trio inside.
These young kids had to go to Cupie's back in the day. These guys are going to a steakhouse with a
little different
strip club attached to it, trying to shake off stuff. That's amazing. Sparty Party 94. This weekend was great. Hockey sweep, basketball W. We need you as AD, Graham, so you can get rid of football and we can all enjoy our life. If Ward and Scott take the next step, I'll take back what I said about this season being a wash. 3-point shooting, though, WTF is the problem there.
Yeah, eventually you'd want football, but there are weekends where it's nice to just have a reprieve, especially from this particular season, and just watch other games and have your team play basketball and hockey and all that.
Shout out to the double bye.
The double bye coming through this year of all years, for sure.
Professor, when your sports weekend is better than your football team is on a bye, it's time for a change. And bonus, if you would have told me MSU could win without Jeremy Fears and Kohler being efficient scorers, I wouldn't have believed you.
I don't think I would have believed you about this team based on what we'd seen to this point. And the most important thing that came out of this game, and from a positive standpoint for Michigan State, was that a real identity was formed, and that who they were on the glass, I think will travel or can travel. Now they got to repeat that. That's an effort type thing. They're not an overly skilled team, but they've got some grit to them. They've got some seasoning, and I think that they've got a chance and an identity that will serve them pretty well. They're going to need shooting too, but this was a good step.
Scotty Green's El Camino, my 80-year-old mother is texting me during the Arkansas game, going on and on about how pretty Jordan Scott is. After I questioned how much she's been drinking, I told her to look up Greg Gard. She doesn't see what you see, Graham. And bonus. Couch, I still think you're weird. Nothing tops coaching a little kid's soccer team where the parents are wondering who the fuck the random dude is touching their kids. But my God, Tom Brady might be weirder. Mouth kissing his kids, and now we find out he cloned his dog? What the fuck?
But he cloned his dog? I didn't even know that thing. What?
Yeah, you can do that now.
You can clone your
$500
dog?
$500,000. Yep.
What?
I wouldn't do it.
No.
You got to move on. It'd be too weird.
That doesn't seem right.
Our dog Mia, I would love to have her back, but not under those circumstances. Not for $500,000 either.
Yeah.
My God, I love her, but man.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah.
It's just weird. What if it's the weird clone that it's like the psycho clone?
Right. It's just a little off.
Yeah.
It's not a perfect clone. Like you get something missing chromosome or whatever, just
Right.
a little bit of a all of a sudden it's a dangerous dog. That just I don't think you want to do that.
Yeah. Brady's an alien, right? He's got to be an alien. Looks weird. Pyramid of Health next. I've officially moved on from the football until there's a change. Watching hockey and basketball compete and win at a high level made me realize football ain't worth the time until Smith is gone.
Yeah, and I think this is where a lot of people are, and they'll watch next week, but they're not going to be invested, right? And that's ultimately the problem. That's why he can't. It just doesn't work. Once you've lost the fan base, once you've lost the...
Then what's the point of keeping him around? I just feel bad for him.
I do too. Like, this presser today, I like Jonathan Smith personally. I like him more than most coaches I've covered. I think most people would if they. I mean, I think he's handled this in terms of like not being defensive and I mean he's been himself. I think who he is.
Well, let's see him get fired without pay. Then he'll be a little pissed.
He'll have
a little easier.
He'll have
his 30 mil fall back at it.
100%. I'm not saying
$500,000 for 9 years.
I'm not saying it's not, but he's somebody I wish this had worked out for because I enjoy covering him. Like in other words, I would have happily covered him for another decade, and I think enjoyed that working relationship. And so, from that standpoint, I think it's too bad that it hasn't.
Do you know how much you'd love me if I was getting that kind of payout? Man, you'd love me. I'd be the nicest guy on the planet.
But most coaches aren't like that.
Hey.
Most coaches are defensive pricks.
Oh yeah,
so
Brian Kelly.
Even though they're getting the payout. Yeah, I mean, so it's not. This isn't like the payout usually turns these guys. You're still who you are. Yeah.
Mark Zott next. The Jonathan Smith situation will take care of itself. With Jed Fish reportedly wanting out of the University of Washington job, they will take Smith and his buyout, and Jay Batt will look like a genius.
So
is that a bake take?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can't imagine Jonathan Smith's going to wind up at Washington. He was the coordinator there. He's got a history there. But the Jed Fish situation at Washington is interesting. His family before the season moved back to Arizona. His kids were, kids schooling, I think, was the precipice. They didn't love Seattle, whatever it might be.
Damn, so he's rolling single.
He's rolling single, but apparently he misses his family. People say he doesn't,
FaceTime.
Yeah.
A Zoom call once a week. Huh?
You'd encourage your family to move elsewhere if you were in a situation.
Well, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Right. Chris, while football may be the moneymaker, having great hockey and basketball teams, not to mention non-revs like women's soccer, is a ton of fun too. And baked, being able to boo Trump and his sycophants in person while watching the Lions stomp the commies made for a very cathartic Sunday night in D.C. That was wild seeing Kenny Albert and all of a sudden Trump there. I was like, dude, how many MGs did I take? Is this real? Like Trump's calling plays?
It was a bizarre interview, and it lasted too long. It was like,
oh my god! I'm like, did they have any idea he was coming up here? He must have just like, let's go to the game.
I'm sure they loved it.
Unbelievable. All right, are we done?
Yeah.
Oh, Josh Inwood, best weekend of Spartan sports in a long time. Baked. Let's cancel the rest of the football season. Legit, MSU football goes winless the rest of the season.
This week will be interesting against Penn State because we saw Penn State sort of rise from the dead a little bit in both the last 2 weeks. But those are easy games to do it. You're at home against were they home? Were they at Penn? Are they at Ohio State? I think, right? But you're home against. I think they might have been home both weeks, and you're playing marquee opponents, and it's like this is what you were supposed to be, and you still have a roster that has a lot of those makings, and you saw how well they can do it on a given day. Like they nearly knocked off Indiana, and we saw what Michigan State looked like against Indiana, right? So we know the difference. But so much of college football is focus and preparation and just, wanting to be out there. And so now you're off the radar in East Lansing on a gray, won't be that cold. It's supposed to be like 50 degrees, but Saturday in mid-November after those two big games, like where are Penn State's heads? From a talent standpoint, they should still, in the line of scrimmage, wreck Michigan State. And then for Michigan State, you've got last time you came off a bye, you played one of your worst games against Nebraska, and so there's you want that to look a little better, but you're playing a team with a much better line of scrimmage than Nebraska. So it's an interesting game. I don't think it's a guarantee that Michigan State can't win because I just don't know where Penn State's heads will be after the last 2 weeks.
Mr. Benjen, number one, love the win, obviously, but 7% three-point shooting isn't conducive to meeting season-long expectations. I put it on Fears to step up and make 2 per game minimum. And 2, the sport is just different in Latin America. for a rivalry soccer game in Buenos Aires yesterday. Every nearby intersection was blocked off with police in riot gear and a 6-foot barricade for about 5 blocks in every direction surrounding the stadium.
Yeah, there are some. I mean, we think college sports goes too far. You see some of these soccer games in like foreign countries
they have
and rivals.
hooligans, though.
They do, but they also have they cage them in sometimes. They put them in separate areas. They can't even be in the same. Like, can you imagine Spartan Stadium having
a boring sport? You got to cage these fans in so they don't leave.
I don't think it's the boredom that's the reason for the cages. It is not. There are times I'll watch foreign fan bases in certain areas of the world and think, boy, we're not so bad over here. You know, we're just animals to each other on Twitter, but it's not as bad in person.
BPA, Bake Day, give me 50 mgs and let me watch Fears versus Tum Tum 1-on-1. First to 3 points wins. Could take an hour. Who you got?
Fears is a better offensive player by a long way than Tum Tum. Tum Tum did not have the confidence. He didn't see things on the court that were happening in front of him, like from an improvisational standpoint. But he was quick. So prime Tum Tum 1-on-1 against Fears would be interesting. Tum Tum would probably miss at the rim. Give me Fears 3-2, and it would only take a couple minutes. It wouldn't be as long as you think. Let's take a really quick break. We come back, more of your takes. Couch in the Rube, our Monday show presented by our friends at Muskox Quality Flannels.
Firekeeper's Online Casino and Sportsbook is the site to play from your phone, tablet, or laptop. Get in on all the football action with pre- and in-game wagering. There's showdowns every week in football that you can't miss. Plus, the college and pro hoops are red hot, and the pucks are cool. Get your first casino deposit and sports wager matched up to $500 each. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and located in Michigan. Gambling problem? Call the Michigan Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-270-7117. Where else can you cheer on your team? Enjoy a mouth-watering burger or savory sushi. Sip on handcrafted cocktails or one of 46 beers on tap. Take your game day or date night to Cask & Company Kitchen Bar or Front 43 Neighborhood Pub near Frandor. 2 amazing places with 1 awesome blended modern American Asian menu. Catch the game on one of 30 60-inch TVs or stop in for the all-you-can-eat lunch buffet. Enjoy happy hour or elevate your night out at Cask & Company or Front 43 on East Saginaw in Lansing. Ever wonder how comfortable you can be and how good you can look? Put on a Muskox flannel and find out. Muskox has new arrivals for this fall, including the Caper Green Grand Flannel, which even makes couch look good. Muskox is a Detroit-based flannel company that creates soft and durable flannels made to last a lifetime. They become a great partner with Couch in the Rube, not just because they make us look good and feel good, but because they're good people too, and a socially conscious company. For every $100 purchase, $10 is donated to the Alaska Wildlife Conservation. Muskox flannels are designed with 100% cotton that is ethically sourced and double brushed for softness. Feel the quality and comfort of a Muskox flannel by ordering at GoMuskox.com, where Couch in the Rube listeners can enjoy $15 off their flannel purchase with the promo code HOFF.
Find Couch in the Rube podcasts on Spreaker, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Google Podcasts, CastBox, and the Rube's favorite podcast addict.
Couch in the Rube, our Monday show presented by our friends at Muskox Quality Flannels. Visit GoMuskox.com and use the promo code Peacock. Was it Peacock? It was a Peacock for $15 off your flannel purchase. Look and feel your best with a Muskox flannel, and especially if you're an ugly bloke like me, it does everything. You know, it's really probably saved my marriage. I can't imagine my wife looking at me without a Muskox flannel and thinking, you know, I'm married to this guy. Yeah, right. Anyway,
yeah. Oh, Sparty Barb next. Number 1, Jeremy Fears, Cohen Carr, and Cam Ward are all him. 2, Izzo's passion on the sideline is contagious to his team and the crowd. Football has been missing that fire for the last 4 years. And 3, amazing sweep of Penn State by MSU hockey this weekend. Total domination on the ice. And bonus, how did a premier college hockey matchup end up on BTN+? The Big Ten needs to do a better job showcasing college hockey. Our conference has 4 teams ranked in the top 10. Shameful.
Yeah, it's bad. It is a ratings issue partly, but it's also just it's not.
Big 10 plus is ass.
They could do better. They should do better with hockey, or they should just get out of the hockey business and let the other leagues let it be the old CCHA and WCHA. One of my favorite things that's happened, and I love Sparty Barb, but the word him seemed to be dropped from the vernacular. You don't hear the young kids saying him anymore. He is him. You remember the Keon Coleman is him stuff? Like,
sure.
Fuck him.
It all takes its course, like the 6-7 thing.
The
6-7 thing made it to CBS Sunday Morning yesterday morning. I'm like, all right, it's officially gone if it's making this show.
What does it mean? I don't understand.
It means nothing. It's just it came from some rap song, and young kids loved it, and it meant nothing, and they, it was something that young kids like and told old people to F off. This is one of those things, and then we come in and swoop it and ruin it and dress up as 6-7 during Halloween, and we just ruin their shit. I get it.
I should ask the 6-year-olds when I was coaching them. What does this mean?
And a barista. Matt Drolette, Cohen Carr's giant T-shirt. That's all I got. And from Gramanito Couch, middle school take. Carr's T-shirt reminds me of being the fat kid in the wave pool at summer camp. That's funny to you.
Sorry.
That's really sad, dude.
Sorry.
Opportunity to convince him to swap out for a Go Muskox flannelgram. And a take from Gramanito. Dan Campbell taking over play calling and our defense playing like dog shit against the third and fourth team of the Commanders doesn't bode well for the foundation going forward. This is amplified by Holmes not trading for any depth pieces or difference makers. Wow. Glad I didn't watch the game with Gramanito.
Yeah. I didn't
It's
come
our
on.
core foundation, man. Grit.
Cohen Carr's T-shirt. I felt so. Somebody had asked me, but I meant to ask him about it. And it's one of those things. As soon as I got back up to the press room, I was like, "How did I not ask him about that?" Because I'm just not very good at this. But I went down there while Izzo was still talking, chatted with him alone in the locker room for 7-8 minutes
while he was wearing the T-shirt.
I don't
think he
think
have the
he
shirt
was.
off and you didn't notice.
I think he'd already changed out of the shirt, so I think that's part of it.
I couldn't stop looking at the shirt.
Yeah,
I'll ask. It's so sweaty and it feels like. It feels so cumbersome, like wearing that shirt. Hey, man.
I think there's going to be availability Tuesday. I will make sure to ask him about the shirt. I don't know why.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Okay.
So, I
thought you were doing like a.
Jason, do you think that Bill Beekman? He certainly can't wear a muskox during the games, but Cohen Carr in a muskox would be a good look. Yeah, cut off muskox. Yeah. Oh, that would be amazing. Amazing. Yeah.
But if you can wear that T-shirt, why couldn't you wear a flannel?
You could.
You could.
No, yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Thomas, college basketball will retain its charm and character because coaches like Izzo have proven that scheduling incredible games like the Arkansas matchup connects with fans, unlike what Signetti's doing. And bonus, Big Ten college towns shouldn't have power outages from a dusting of snow and 13-mile-per-hour winds.
Wait, who had a power outage? Was it somebody?
I don't know.
Was this? Yeah, it might have been Bloomington or something. I don't forget. But yeah, no, it's not. You should not.
But wherever it was, it's true.
Yes.
That should not cause your operation to shut down.
Yeah,
Felipe Mendez, way to go, MSU women's soccer. Great effort. Keep Coach Smith.
That's Jonathan Smith because it's not a Smith.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the soccer coach.
No, that's interesting. That's a separate take. Women's soccer lost in penalties to Washington in the championship, the Big Ten tournament championship on Sunday, and they dominated that game. It was too bad they couldn't get another goal. And what sucked too is you couldn't help but not feel good for Washington because their goaltender a year ago had just died a few days earlier from a rare form of kidney cancer, and they were playing for her, and it was. I mean, everybody had the orange ribbons they were wearing. I mean, it was a real tough situation, and he felt good for the Washington keeper that she was able to have that moment but. The MSU women's soccer team will find out Monday afternoon their NCAA tournament draw, and they've got a chance they should be still a 2 seed, which would mean they would host all the way through the Sweet 16. I think this is going to be their best seed in the NCAA tournament. They've got a real chance to make noise in the NCAA tournament.
MCV next. After Wisconsin beat Washington this Saturday, MSU officially became the worst team in the Big Ten. And yes, that includes Purdue. And bonus, getting high-profile wins from lesser or non-revenue sports does provide short-term relief for Spartan fans. It also puts more pressure and animosity towards the football program, as they get more resources than all the other sports combined and continue to underperform.
Yeah, but every place has more resources than all the non-revs, right? So everything's relative. But I know what you mean. Like it's like, you are the sport. Like, make it happen here. But it's not nothing what MSU's doing in other sports, and I think that's, be it some are non-rev, some are rev. I mean, men's basketball and hockey are not non-rev sports, but I think all of it collectively, maybe all of it collectively is football if you had winning football. But it's not nothing, and it does improve the vibes and helps people sort of escape what's going on.
Trick up next. How big of an issue is it with donors if one of the biggest NIL earners sits on the bench? Is it enough of a factor to start Childs again? And bonus, is some of that NIL money not being spent for Smith being spent for Izzo's 26 recruiting class?
I don't think, it would be interesting if it was. I don't think that's the way it's worked. Now, the rev share is, you have a certain amount and you've got to divide it up, and football gets its share, and it would be interesting to see if basketball, certain places pulled from that. But you got to win in football. I just don't see, everybody's getting at least $15 million of that in football, and then you got to try and raise some elsewhere and be creative in how you do that. And there are ways to do that. I mean, you see, the other day we're walking into Breslin, and there was people there from, I forget the company, to do some NIL shoot with Fears, and like, so there are ways to, there are ways to do this. So there, even in a legitimate NIL way, there's more money for these guys. But to your first question, do donors care if the biggest NIL earner sits on the bench? I think it's different what's happening with Childs than what happened with Blackstock, the offensive tackle. There was a 5-star kid they got a couple years ago from the JUCO ranks. Like, that guy never played, right? Never panned out. And Childs has been the starter for a while, and it hasn't worked out. And this is something people are going to have to get over. There are going to be times where it doesn't work. These are 18 and 19-year-old kids, some transfers, some high school kids that you're betting on and you're paying a lot for, and not all of them are going to work out. And you're just going to have to trust the coaches to make moves. And that's one of the hard things with it, right, is sometimes your higher earners aren't going to be playing that much. And that's when programs are going to lose, right? You have to get those decisions right. It's like pro football. If you're starting quarterback, the person making the most money stinks, and you have to bench them. Odds are your season is not going well. Your evaluation did not go well.
John Naughty next. Don't take any of this for granted. One day, hopefully a long time from now, we won't have our Coach Izzo release valve to count on. This isn't normal. It's special. Go to every game you can. Watch on TV every game you can. Be a part of it. Last year, we entered another golden era of MSU basketball, and you don't want to miss a moment. It won't last forever.
Yeah, I mean, he's not wrong. People should take in the Izzo era, because it is, and it's not just that Izzo's made that program what it is for 30 years, but it's also just, you're not going to find somebody else who just cares and represents what you care about so much. Like, Izzo was at the hockey game Friday night, right? I mean, like, Izzo cares the way the rest of this is going. He brings up in his press conference the women's soccer stuff. He cares about the health of Michigan State. And so if you're an MSU alum or fan or whatever, he embodies you. He meets you where you are. And we talk about this with the football coaching job. What D'Antonio did so well was meet you where you were at the earliest stages of your frustration with the rivalry with Michigan. Coaches who meet fans where they are and how they feel about everything and feel like they're in the same foxhole with them, that matters.
It's the American way, except America has gotten soft.
Rich Searing, number one, Graham likes to skip my questions, so I refuse to send them anymore.
I don't
funny
think so.
Again?
Sorry, I'm not laughing at.
I'm sorry, Rich. I mean, I want to read them, but Graham's like, dude, we got to skip Rich's.
Rich, I would never do that intentionally. I apologize if it's happened.
Blame Ebling, then blame Graham.
But definitely blame Ebling
Blame
first.
Graham first, though. Yeah. 2, outside shooting will be the Achilles heel of this year's hoops team. Kurt Tang's Minutes Saturday show there's a big problem there. And 3, whoever is the next football coach will need to be given at least 3 years to begin to turn things around. It will take at least that long to get some line help on both sides of the ball. As long as we see yearly progress, we can avoid another Smith fiasco. But let's be honest. I remember lots of people posting bad things about the D'Antonio hire before giving him a chance. MSU fans are very impatient due to past hiring traumas, and you can't blame them.
Yeah, but they don't have to dictate. Like, if the money's there and you see progress. I mean, Twitter is not going to fire a coach entirely. Like people are out on Smith in ways that they weren't out on D'Antonio, or if they, and D'Antonio won more. I guess it was 2009 where people were probably a little skeptical of the direction of that whole thing. But that was also a different era. Like you just knew a guy had to have time, and that's changed. But you're right. Somebody's going to have to be given time. The hope for the next guy is that you retain some of the best parts of this roster, I would think, and offensively up front, there are some young guys who I think are promising, and you need to keep them and get them so that the pain of these years of young guys not being ready is not replicated. Some of those guys actually become ready, and your line is better earlier with the next guy.
Mojo Jojo Armageddon take. As someone in business school who knows quite a bit about private equity, the $2.4 billion UC deal is the end of college athletics. Just a minor league now with better branding and franchising. And baked, the moment Cohen Carr wears a reasonably sized T-shirt is the moment we lose our tourney streak. It's a talisman for the season now. A talisman? What is that? Talisman?
Yeah, talisman, I guess. I don't know the word. I don't know. You want to look it up. We should learn this word. Let's learn this word together. Right, talisman. It's an object believed. Oh yeah, an object believed to have magical and productive powers, using to bring good luck, protection from evil, or other special specifics. It's like a muskox flannel, but for the basketball court. Yeah, it's there. To your first point, I think there's a lot of things to be wary about with private equity in college athletics. Don't love it. And if the schools desperately need it to the point they're willing to do this, they need to be forthcoming about why and just how bad it is. And, and then they need to be more fiscally responsible. And, I think one of the problems is, you want fiscal responsibility, but you also want a school to part ways with Jonathan Smith and a guy who's still owed more than $30 million. And then maybe the fiscally responsible thing is to do that long term, but you have to, those are things you have to weigh. Schools are not great. The whole system is not great at fiscal responsibility, and they're going to have to get better, because the more you sell yourself down the road to private equity, the greater the chance this whole thing goes to shit.
Zabruka Spartan Trump in the booth calling plays because there's still no penalty for false starts or shameless self-promotion on live TV. And somehow Jonathan Vilma still wasn't the worst thing about that broadcast.
Man, the Vilma, it was Kenny Albert, whatever.
Yeah, no, Chris Myers does the worst game on. Yeah. He was doing Panthers Saints.
Okay.
Chris Myers is fascinating to me. He's been doing it forever, and they just look at the schedule and go, what's the worst game we have? And they send Chris Myers there.
He just keeps getting his contract redone, and he's
Kenny Albert does some of the lesser games, but yeah, he was doing Lions Commanders.
I always think of Chris Myers as the guy who replaced Roy Firestone on ESPN as doing those. You remember he had the show after him for a while, and
it's a weird thing with Myers. Like, I just don't get. I thought he was good. Is he terrible? I don't know. I always thought Myers was all right. Like, and he just seems to be on the worst NFL game imaginable on the Fox schedule.
And for a long time, that was the Lions. Like, we heard his voice a lot.
We'd always see Chris Myers. Yeah.
And I think that's part of one of the downsides for him is that when I hear his voice now, I'm like, oh, this is shit. It's not even his fault. They put him on the worst game constantly. It's a really good point.
Spartan Dog 97 Saturday night was some ethical ass basketball. Brought a tear to my eye. And bonus, I hope whoever's responsible for this YouTube TV Disney bullshit gets hemorrhoids. And from Uper Carl, YouTube TV versus Disney fight is in its second week. Disney worth $200 billion versus Google $3.4 trillion, which is 17-1. Google can wait this out. The fight already cut 20 to 25% of viewers for sports. Example, Monday Night Football, Week 9, down 21%. So Disney has to be feeling advertiser pressure and could be on the hook for plus $50 million in concessions.
It is an interesting standoff. You usually don't see it happen this long in the middle of I guess the FanDuel or Bally Sports TV stuff went on for a long time. But, and my biggest advice, and I'm going to tell you right now, would be Xfinity. We and I'm not saying YouTube TV doesn't have its. A lot of people like it. It's got the Sunday ticket now, right? Or Red Zone is what it's got, right? So it's got a lot of. It's been one of the best in terms of DVR and other streaming services that have been sort of a full cable offering. But I still think Xfinity's better. I love the Xfinity DVR and the playback on my phone for games when I'm on the road. I think it's fantastic. So if you don't want to wait to watch these, for this YouTube Disney bullshit, is was eloquently put here, I would just switch to Xfinity today. To your point, though, it will be interesting because people forget that. People think YouTube, they're gonna cave. YouTube is Google, right? So I don't know that they are under the pressure that people think they are.
Ben Chulik next with hot stove season approaching. I don't want to lose Skubal, but I've accepted it's what's best for the team if his agent is demanding $400 million. Can't pay a pitcher that kind of money if he can only go 6 innings in a must-win game. He's not prime Verlander, who would go 9.
I think that I think it really hurt Skubal, that going to only 6 innings in that game. I really do.
How does it not?
Yeah, I think it was. No. And the amount of money he's going to want, and I'm curious what he will actually get on the open market. Let me ask you this, Jason. Your two choices, re-signing Skubal is unlikely, but it's something that would have to happen after the end of next year if it did anyway. Mm-hmm. So your two realistic choices are ride it out with him for another year, try to win a World Series, and 90% chance you're going to lose him. Or if there's a decent market for him this offseason, and maybe there is, make that move.
Speaking of Verlander, what did we get back for the Verlander trade?
Nothing that came.
That's what
good.
I mean. Like,
right.
I'd rather almost try another season with him with the 90%, knowing that he's going to leave, and hopefully we can put the guys around it and stay healthy and make a run at a World Series with him, and then let him go. I
think I would too, because part of it is they have a lot of good prospects now that we're still waiting for them to show up. And
I'm sick of prospects.
Right, and so that's one of the elements now, and you're in this sort of zone where you it's time to win, and they're competing, and then again, it's a non-salary cap sport. So in essence, if you say you're not going to pay him 8 years, $400 million, say you're like, the most we were going to do was like 6 years, $200 million. But you're still looking at like $35 million a year you were willing to spend on this guy or something.
Sure.
So say that was then fine. Okay, but when he leaves, I need to know that you're willing to spend $35 million a year on somebody to go get, and it doesn't have to be one person. Go get 2 or 3 guys or 2 guys. I need to know you're willing to spend that money anyway to go and upgrade your roster. I think that's where the fear is. I think there'd be less fear if people felt like, hey, if they don't get Skubal, they'll go spend on somebody else that they feel is, they'll put together a competitive roster. They'll get 2 really good pitchers and maybe not the one or whatever. There's this fear that they won't do that. But to me,
and there's the fear you lose in a wild card series, and then there's Skubal for a full year. You just kind of wasted it.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, there is that fear, but I think I'm willing to risk that over. I mean, it depends on obviously, the trade that someone was willing to offer for Skubal, but yeah,
if you
give me those 2 options.
If you're trying to put together a viable World Series contender next year, then I think you keep him.
Oh yeah. Richard Kane, number 1 laziest take of the year, trying to cheapen the Dodgers championship by saying they just bought it. The Blue Jays payroll of $193 million was 3rd highest in MLB, and they would have signed every guy the Dodgers did and paid them the same. They offered Ohtani $700 million, for example. And 2, college refs may be ass, but that back judge made a hell of a call at the end of the Indiana-Penn State game. He was zeroed in like a laser on Omar Cooper's toes. The most attention anyone in football has given toes since Rex Ryan. And bonus, Cohen Carr needs a bigger T-shirt.
I don't know. I mean, you just get lost in it. Eventually, the ball will just fall down in there if you had a bigger T-shirt. That was.
I can't believe you didn't ask him. Like, you forgot to ask Cohen Carr. That was like the only thing going through my mind. Like, if I saw Cohen Carr anywhere, I'd be like, "Oh, dude, what's up with that T-shirt?"
Yeah, I know. I'm a moron. I'm just not very good at the job. To the point here, though, we talk about officials and making them more accountable and having a dialogue, ability to have a dialogue with them. This could be the other side of it. Like, it would be a fun post-game story, like a great sidebar afterwards to interview that back judge.
Really?
Because he got it right. And be like, holy shit. He'd be like, man, I was sweating my ass off to get that right. Oh, my God, I thought I was right.
Do we want to hear from refs, though?
Maybe. I don't know. I do.
You sure?
I do.
I want to hear from refs.
I do.
Even after, I don't know.
I do. I want to hear about it from them all the time. I agree with you on the other thing. The Dodgers have just become less likable because they've been there before. They've already won it. Toronto hadn't won it in so many years. I understand they're a giant payroll, too, but
Toronto should have won that series.
They were the better team. That's the thing that's frustrating, too. And they were the better team, right?
I don't know if I could go that far, but yeah.
They should have won it. And it feels like the Dodgers will always spend whatever is necessary and the most, and it just sucks. And, I don't know. And people in L.A. don't deserve it.
KP, number 1, MSU has the right player mix to make the Final Four. And 2, college football was better when Indiana sucked. And 3, Gus Johnson's horrible.
College football is better when Indiana sucked. I like this Indiana team. But
you just don't like Cignetti?
I don't mind Cignetti. I don't like his scheduling process. I like Cignetti fine. I think people are missing
more than Gus Johnson.
More than Gus Johnson. Yeah, I'm tired of Gus Johnson.
Scott, number one. This win feels like when MSU beat Illinois last season at home. Also, most national media still thinks Arkansas is better than MSU, and everyone said that about uber-talented Illinois last year, and then MSU won by 14. MSU will continue to get better and will shoot better from 3. 2, winning is so much fun.
So you're right on this. The Illinois game is a good comparison. MSU would have lost that game at the time they played it on the road or a neutral site. I don't know if they were fully the better team, but they were by the time they played them later. So seasons can go in a lot of different directions. And it was still, I always talk about the truth being on the road, but that was a really big home win at the time over Illinois. And this was a really big win for this particular MSU season, even though it was home for Michigan State. And national media, you're right. They are obsessed with that stuff. MSU will, look, they won the game, and they'll have to keep improving, and they'll have to shoot better from 3 if they want more of those games this season. But this was an important win, and screw the national media. I just, again, they're just clawing for relevancy, and they can't find it most places, so they got to kiss the ass of the most.
So you officially don't want a national job, right? Like, so is this you like putting claim on you want to stay local?
I have made I am here in Lansing, right?
Yeah.
After 12, 13 years, and that is.
You love Lansing.
That is by choice. Like it's not like every day of the week I've got ESPN calling me or anything. Like, you sure you don't want to leave now, man? That's not my life either. But what I'm saying is I have made this choice, and I've had opportunities to make a different path, and so I'm comfortable shitting on national media. Now, if I get laid off, I may sing a different tune. But until then, you're here.
I felt all of Fred
Feeling
all of Fred Human.
Absolutely.
Mark V, Spartan front court players dominated. They scored 54 points out of 69 for Michigan State. Out-rebounded Hogs by 12. Held Arkansas front court to 13 points. Yes, Sparty needs some scoring from the guards, but can win a heck of a lot of games just like that.
They can. They'll be an NCAA tournament team like that. They'll be a 6 seed or better like that. The question is, can they be a 3 or 2 seed? Can they play with Michigan and Purdue at the top of the Big Ten, and to do that, they're going to need the other things. And so that's really the question.
Travis Maynard, number one, with a sizable lead. MSU closes the game with 2 non-shooting guards and 2 non-shooting bigs, a lineup that hadn't been used all game. MSU struggled to score, losing the lead. Explain, Graham. And 2, agree with having the guys, giving the guys their shot, but dudes might end up not playing anyways because it's a 2-way street. Yes, it's not fair to a player to be portal poached over, but it's also not fair to the rest of the team that lost 3 scoring guards that desperately need perimeter scoring.
Yeah, no, it's true. Like, if you're gonna, the danger in doing what Izzo does with relying on Kurtang and giving him that opportunity is if it doesn't happen, you get caught, and that isn't fair to the rest of the team. But I think overall it's the. Like, if you think you've got the guys, I think the approach he's done works for him, and it works for the culture they have. And but you can certainly make the argument the other way. You said with a sizable lead, MSU closes the game with 2 non-shooting guards and 2 non-shooting bigs, a lineup that hadn't been used all game. I would say Kohler is a shooting big. He's just not making them, right? And it's who they trusted defensively, and it worked. I think over time the best lineups are going to be the 2 of the 3 bigs, Cam Ward off in there, Cooper and Kohler maybe sometimes depending on matchups, and then they got to get something out of the shooting guard. And I think Jordan Scott is going to be that guy, and he's a shooter. He is a shooter. It's not like these guys aren't shooter. That's why he's got recruited at this level, and so he's wound up being a lot better at the other things. They just need him to become a confident shooter, and I think there's a chance he will. MSU would be in a lot worse shape with him, and a lot worse shape with Kurtang if shooting wasn't their primary skill that made them the recruits and the players that they were as prospects. If they were trying to turn non-shooters into shooters, what they need from Scott, they're getting everything else. They need him to make shots, and from Kurtang, they need him to make shots. And so I think there's a chance those things develop, and if not, it'll be a longer winter otherwise.
Ralph E. Fandom. Jason is to Lions as Ralphie is to Spartans. Ralphie is to Spartans as Graham is to blank. And bonus, this week the fans will speak with their wallet. MSUSpartans.com shows 75% of East Upper tickets still available. SeatGeek, 50-yard line lower bowl. bowl for $49. Lots available.
So I am curious to see what it looks like this weekend. It is senior day. It's the last true home game. The weather's supposed to be okay. It's still Penn State. I think the crowd will be okay. It'll be a hard ticket maybe to give away, but it will be telling. Ralphie the Buffalo, is that what we're talking about? Ralphie the Buffalo?
Ralphie, the guy that wrote in, his name is Ralphie.
Oh, but he goes by Ralph E. No, this is Lions Ralphie. I don't really know how to answer this, Ralphie. I'm going to need more.
He's a diehard Spartan fan. I'm a diehard Lions fan. What are you a diehard fan of?
Me?
Yeah,
I am nothing.
I'm saying that's what he's asking you, though.
Yeah, I've got nothing.
Obviously, thank you. Tyler, Graham, can you profile and give us some highlights of your 36 hours this weekend? MSU hockey, MSU hoops, Izzo's not washed, my column. Man City 3-0 with a stranger's cat sleeping on your chair. Lions and Pistons.
It was a good weekend.
But he's not a fan. He doesn't care about anything.
I'm covering MSU hockey. It's not that I don't care about things. I'm not like losing.
Who's Ralph E?
I don't know. It's
the guy that writes it.
It's the way. That's a good point. I apologize.
Sorry, Ralph.
Yeah, apologize, Ralph.
Jesus,
I'm really bad at this. No, it was a fun, busy weekend. Like MSU hockey. One night, one afternoon. MSU basketball at the evening. I watched a fair bit of MSU women's soccer as well. Watched a fair bit of soccer on Sunday. Lions game, Pistons games. All of it, you spelled it out. That was pretty much my weekend, that and hanging out with my wife. That was it.
Hans Jurgen, number 1, I like this basketball team. Graham, not so much. 2, Cam Ward has the highest basketball IQ of any Spartan since Draymond. And 3, the way this team plays defense, they can beat anybody, but the way they shoot the 3, they can lose to anyone as well. And bonus, unite the Spartan family. Hire Narduzzi as head coach and Max Bulla as defensive coordinator. Narduzzi is a bridge to the past and Bulla to the future. And double bonus, I sexualize sports podcasting.
That does not surprise me. I don't know what it means, but it does not surprise me.
That's weird.
It does not surprise me at all. The Narduzzi and Bulla combo, I think people would actually get behind it. I don't think it's going to happen. But
what about the Saban? Have Saban and then Max Bulla.
People would be behind that
for 2 years. Yeah. Anyway, Jake Hawkins, number 1, thank God Tom Brady was across the country calling Rams 49ers so the Lions could get a much-needed win, but sure hope most people muted the TV when you know who was in the broadcast booth. Kenny Albert? Dan Campbell should call plays from here on out. Got to win next week in Philly. 2, never in my life I would ever watch a game where Gus Johnson would have a Sean McDonough moment where he loses his voice from an epic play until it happened on Saturday on the game-winning catch by Indiana against Penn State. Hell of a play, but I'm now more jealous of Indiana football. And 3, CBS is finally coming to East Lansing to cover MSU at 3:30 on Saturday. 2 Big Ten teams searching for their first conference win. 1 team has seen its season go off the rails, and 1 team has lost 6 in a row. If Brad Nessler and Gary Danielson aren't excited, MSU should give them melty moments. And bonus, Jason, I do listen to Mike Valeni on 97.1 on the Odyssey app, but sometimes when listening while driving, I hit a dead spot or snag that causes a skip, or I have a system or software issues in my truck, so it'll be nice to get it on regular radio and not drain my battery.
Yeah, the explanation for
are you hooking up your phone to your battery? Like, how does it drain your battery? Like, oh, your battery on your phone. I guess.
Yeah.
I thought he meant like your car battery.
Your car battery. Yeah, that would be bad if phones were. Yeah, I think you're doing this wrong. Jake. You're driving wrong. It should not be what's draining your battery all the way.
I mean, yeah, there are spots out in Ovid where it drops out. I just kind of wait, and then it just picks back up, and I go,
How many dead spots are there in Ovid?
There's 2. There's 2 that mess with when I commute. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's more in Owasso, but it's not too bad.
You know where there's one stretch when I was on the drive on 69 down to like Indianapolis area and stuff. When you're going near past Coldwater near the state line, man, you'll be on like and there's the same thing happens near Olivet. There's a couple spots where when you're driving, you just know if you're on an important call or you're on something, you're like, I'm scared of this zone coming up. I'm terrified of what's ahead.
Give us a call now and tell us where your dead spots are. Jesus Christ.
Sorry.
Jerk guy, finally, let's get out of here. This weekend for Spartan football might have been my favorite in recent memory. And bonus, professionals shouldn't lose a whole podcast and then have to re-record it.
That's fair to say. That's what we had to do with Spartan Speak with Chris and I. And
I will.
Yeah,
there's a portion of it.
Graham.
Professionals.
Anyway, the things.
Graham.
Yeah, professionals loosely doing a lot of work there. We appreciate all of you for producing our show and helping us be professionals or whatever it is. This is. We'll be back. We're going to figure out the show schedule this week. We've got a couple things, but we'll be back at some point in the middle of the week and talk to you again. We appreciate Muskox. Go to gomuskox.com. Get your quality flannel. Look your best. Feel your absolute best. There's snow on the ground. It is time for your Muskox flannel. We appreciate Xfinity. Go to xfinity.com. Type in your address. See the best offer for you. Chances are you'll be able to save money and have more channels, phone, internet, whatever it is, combined there for you as well. We appreciate Midtown Brewing Company. Go to Midtown Brewing Company in downtown Lansing for the date night, whatever it is. Watch a game this week. Good show, man.
Yeah, man.
Couch in the Room.